Hello everyone, welcome to our channel all about economics. I'm Pragya. Hope you all are doing good. Today's topic is ordinal utility approach. So without wasting any time, let's start with the topic. I uploaded one video on cardinal utility analysis. I hope you watched it. If you didn't, the link is attached in the description of the video. Please do watch it. So basically in that video, we talked about how to attain consumers equilibrium. So there were two approaches. First one was cardinal and second one was ordinal. We discussed cardinal in that video, and continuing that, we are going to discuss ordinal utility approach in this video. So ordinal utility approach is also called indifference curve analysis or Hicksian analysis. In cardinal utility approach, we used numbers to express our satisfaction levels. So, and in limitation, we actually talked about that it is impossible that we express our satisfaction level with numbers. So, basically, in ordinal utility approach, we express the utility in ranks, that is, in order of preferences. For instance, a consumer can rank various combinations of goods and services in order of his preference. Like if he's consuming two goods, apple and banana, then he will tell that he prefers apple over banana or banana over apple, or he is indifferent between them. So basically, we are telling that the utility is in preferences, in ranks. We don't need to give them numbers. To attain consumers equilibrium in ordinal utility approach, we use two concepts, which are namely indifference curve and second one is budget line. So we are going to discuss about these two first. First one is indifference curve. Indifference curve was given by J.R. Hicks and R.G.D. Allen, popularly known as Hicks and Allen. And let's see the definition of indifference curve. Indifference curve refers to the graphical representation of various alternative combination of bundle of two goods among which the consumer is indifferent. Okay, what do you mean by indifferent? Look, if you are provided with two bundles and you cannot prefer one over another, like the both of bundles provide you same level of satisfaction, then you say that the two bundles are indifferent. So what the definition says, it basically says that indifference curve is a locus of points that shows such combinations of two commodities which give the consumer same level of satisfaction. Let us understand this by a schedule. So let us take combinations of apples and bananas. Let the combinations be P, Q, R, S and T. So basically these all combinations provide the consumer the same level of satisfaction. Suppose the apples are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and bananas are 15, 10, 6, 3, 1. So basically what this schedule says, it says that 1 apple and 15 bananas give the consumer the same level of satisfaction that 3 apples and 6 bananas give, and 2 apples and 10 bananas give. And basically all of these bundles provide the consumer the same level of satisfaction. Now we are going to represent this graphically. So let us make it. On x-axis we'll take apples, on y-axis we'll take bananas, and we're just going to point these bundles in the graph. So we'll point P, Q, R, S, T on graph, and we'll get, after joining these points, indifference curve. So this is indifference curve, which is convex to the origin and downward sloping. All these points P, Q, R, S, T, these combinations are together known as indifference set. So basically all the bundles which provide the consumer the same level of satisfaction, among which the consumer is indifferent, we call all those points as indifference set. Now we are going to talk about indifference map. Indifference map refers to the family of indifference curves that represent consumer preferences over all the bundles of the two goods. That is what we are doing. We are just representing all the ICs in one graph, and when we represent that, this is known as indifference map. So like in this graph, we can see IC1, IC2 and IC3. So in this graph, we can simply say that bundle A and bundle B, if both are provided to the consumer, what will he choose? He will choose B. Why? Because according to monotonic preferences, A rational consumer always prefers more of a commodity as it offers him a higher level of satisfaction. So when we are looking at these points, see, the commodity Y is same in both the bundles A and B, but the commodity X is more in bundle B. So we are going to choose bundle B because it provides more of commodities to the consumer. So according to monotonic preferences, he will choose B. So we see in this graph that the bundle on the higher IC is chosen because bundle B was on IC2 and bundle A is on IC1. So we are choosing bundle B. So we can say that higher ICs represent higher level of satisfaction. And a rational consumer will always choose a bundle which is on higher indifference curve. Now we'll talk about marginal rate of substitution. Marginal rate of substitution refers to the rate at which the commodities can be substituted with each other so that the total satisfaction of the consumer remains the same. Look, MRS is the slope of indifference curve. So we need to understand this properly. So what is basically MRS? So if I'm saying MRS AB, then what does that mean? It means that units of bananas we are willing to sacrifice will be in the numerator, and units of apples which is we are willing to gain, for which we are sacrificing units of bananas, that will be in denominator. So basically change in B will be in numerator and change in A will be in denominator. So the commodity which we are sacrificing will be in the numerator and the commodity which we are gaining is in the denominator. So if we are sacrificing one commodity for another, the numerator will be negative obviously, but in the calculation we always use absolute values. So this is MRS AB, which is change in B upon change in A, and this is the slope of indifference curve. So for understanding this concept, let us take the same schedule we used before. So these are the combinations apples and bananas. So let us see. Look, P bundle was 1 apple, 15 bananas. Then for going to bundle Q, we for gaining 1 apple we sacrificed 5 units of bananas. So 15 bananas there were, and now there are only 10 bananas, and apple only increased by 1. So we can say that to gain 1 apple we sacrificed 5 units of bananas. So MRS will be 5 upon 1. Then from combination Q to combination R, again we are gaining 1 more apple from 2 to 3, but we are sacrificing less of bananas, like from 10 to 6 it's only 4 units. So the MRS is 4 upon 1. Then from R to S, again 1 apple is increased from 3 to 4, and the bananas we are sacrificing are only 3 units. So the MRS is 3 upon 1. And then from S to T bundle, the apples we are gaining is again 1, 4 say 5 ho gaya. And then bananas we are sacrificing are only 2 units. So MRS is 2 upon 1. So we can see that MRS is reducing, like 5 is to 1, and then it became 4 is to 1, then it became 3 is to 1, and then 2 is to 1. So MRS is diminishing, and this diminishing MRS is the reason why IC is convex shaped. Okay, so now let us talk about the properties of indifference curve. First one is indifference curves are always convex to the origin, and we just learned that this is because of the diminishing MRS. And why MRS is diminishing? It's basically because law of diminishing marginal utility. You remember diminishing marginal utility law? It basically says that as we consume more and more units of a good, the satisfaction levels we get from each preceding unit goes on decreasing. So this is that is the reason why MRS is declining. Now let us come to the second property, which says indifference curve slopes downward. So what does that imply? It implies that a consumer consumes more of one good, he must consume less of the other good. Basically, if you're consuming more of a good, if you're gaining more of a good, then you have to sacrifice the other good so that your total utility remains the same. Now third property of IC is higher indifference curve represent higher levels of satisfaction. So this is because of monotonic preferences, because if you are a rational consumer and you are provided with two bundles, then which bundle are you going to choose? You're obviously going to choose the bundle which has more goods as compared to the other one. So this is what it says, higher indifference curve represents higher level of satisfaction. Now fourth IC property is indifference curves can never intersect each other. To understand this, we're going to use a graph. So on x-axis we're going to take apples, on y-axis we're going to take bananas, and we're going to make two ICs which are intersecting at A. So IC1 and IC2 are two ICs which are intersecting at A, and let us take a point, a bundle B on IC1 and a bundle C on IC2. So if you are provided with two bundles B and C, which bundle are you going to choose? Being a rational consumer, you will always choose the bundle C, because it is providing you more of the units of apples and bananas. So being a rational consumer, because of monotonic preferences, you are going to choose bundle C. So A and C both are on same IC, that is IC2. That means they both provide the same level of satisfaction. So you can say that if you're choosing bundle C, then you're choosing bundle A also, because you're indifferent between the two. And with the same logic, IC1 has two bundles A and B. So basically if you're choosing bundle A, then you can choose bundle B also, because these two bundles are also on same IC, that is the consumer will be indifferent between these two bundles also. So basically this says that that the B and C two bundles are indifferent. So but we simply stated in the beginning, and also we can see in the graph, that bundle C is providing you more of the units of apples and bananas, and it appears on the higher IC. So it contradicts it that ICs can't intersect. So basically ICs can't intersect. Okay. Now last property is IC can't touch the axis. So because this why? So because this is contradictory to the assumption of two goods. We're going to discuss the assumptions now. Before that, let us properly discuss the last property, that is IC can't touch the axis. Look, if IC is touching the axis, suppose it's touching x-axis. So what does that mean? That means bananas consumed are 0. And as we say that there are two goods, apples and bananas, we are talking about the bundle which is providing you two goods. So it is the contradiction of that. And with the same logic, if your axis y is touched, then it means the apples are 0. So it is not possible. That's why IC can't touch the axis. Now let us look at the assumptions of ICs. So these are the assumptions. First one is two commodities. We're talking about two commodities here. Second one is non-satiety. That is, they are not reached point of saturation. They always prefer more at higher IC. Third one is ordinal utility. Fourth one is diminishing MRS. Fifth one is rational consumer, and sixth one is consistency. That is, if A is preferred over B, then B can't be preferred over A. Seventh one is transitivity. That means if A is preferred to B and B is preferred to C, then A must be preferred to C. So with this we talked about the assumptions of ICs. Now we'll come on to the second concept we're going to discuss for discussing the consumer equilibrium, that is budget line. So let us discuss about the budget line now. Budget line is also called price line. Let's see the definition of budget line. Budget line is a graphical representation of all possible combination of two goods which can be purchased with given income and prices, such that the cost of each of this combination is equal to the money income of the consumer. So basically a budget line tells you the combination of two goods which can be purchased with your income. So let's see the diagrammatical explanation. So let us take a schedule of combination EFGHIJ and apples, which have the cost rupees 4 each, and the quantity is 543210, and bananas cost is rupees 2 each, and the quantities are 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So what we're going to do, we are going to just point these combinations on the graph. Let's take a graph. On x-axis we'll take apples, on y-axis we'll take bananas, and we will just point this combination on this graph, and when we join these points from E to J, we'll get the budget line, which is downward sloping and is also a straight line. So we can see that's a straight line downward sloping. Okay, so what does all these bundles on budget line tells you? That these are the bundles which you can purchase if you spending all of your income. So these are the bundles. Okay, any of them you can purchase from your income. So the bundles which are inside this line, like point D, this combination, if you are taking this combination, that means you're not using your all money, you are underspending it. And if you are taking any combination which is outside this budget line, it means that they are unattainable, that is they are outside your budget. So this is how it works. Now see the algebraic expression of budget line. M is equals to PA into QA plus PB into QB. So what's M? M is the money income. QA is the quantity of apples. QB is the quantity of bananas. PA is the price of each apple and PB is the price of each banana. So let's see it from the schedule. So if apples cost is rupees 4, that means the price is rupees 4, PA is 4 and PB is 2, and the quantity is apples is 5 units. So what we're going to do, we'll do PA into QA, that is 4 into 5, plus PB into QB, that is 2 into 0, and when we'll add this we'll get 20. So 20 is the entire income we have. Okay, so with the same thing we'll make all of the combinations. 4 into 4 plus 2 into 2, with the same thing 3 into 4 plus 4 into 2, 2 into 4 and 6 into 2. So all these give you 20. So basically with the 20 income you can purchase any of these combinations. Okay, now let us talk about the slope of budget line. The slope of budget line is Px upon Py, that is the price ratio. So how does that work? That works like if we have apples at 4 each and bananas as 2 each, then what will be the price ratio? It will be Px, that is apples of apples है आपका x axis पे, so price is 4, that means 4 upon py. On y axis we have bananas, the price is 2, we are going to take 2 on the denominator, then 4 upon 2, that is 2, then it means the slope of budget line is 2. So how does that work? How it came? Because look, if you have a point on the budget line indicates a bundle which the consumer can purchase by spending his entire income. So if the consumer wants to have one more unit of apple, then he will have to give up some amount of bananas, and this is depends on the prices. So this is because and that's because the slope of the budget line is price ratio, that is Px upon Py. Now let us talk about the properties of budget line. So there are two simple properties. Budget line is downward sloping and budget line is straight line. So budget line has a negative slope. That means if you want to buy more unit of a good one, then you have to sacrifice the other good. You can't buy the more of other good. And budget line is a straight line. It is represented by a price ratio which is constant because prices are constant. Okay, now let us talk about the consumer's equilibrium by indifference curve analysis. So there are two conditions of consumer's equilibrium. First one is MRS XY is equals to the ratio of prices, that is Px upon Py. That means the slope of indifference curve is equals to the slope of budget line. So that is the first condition of consumer's equilibrium. And the second condition is MRS continuously falls. So let us discuss in detail. MRS XY is equals to Px upon Py. So how does that work? So look, if MRS XY is more than Px Py, it means that to obtain one more unit of X, the consumer is willing to sacrifice more units of Y as compared to what is required in the market. It induces the consumer to buy more of X. As a result, MRS falls and continue to fall till it becomes equal to the ratio of prices and the equilibrium is established. And again with the same thing, if MRS XY is less than PX upon PY, that means he'll obtain one more unit of X. The consumer is willing to sacrifice less units of Y as compared to what is required in the market. It induces the consumer to buy less of X and more of Y. As a result, MRS rises till it becomes equal to the ratio of prices and the equilibrium is established. Now the second condition is MRS continuously falls. This is because of the diminishing MRS, the IC is convex. So basically it's saying that IC must be convex on the equilibrium. So let's see it graphically. So on x-axis we'll take a commodity X, on y-axis we'll take commodity Y, and there are three ICs, IC1, IC2 and IC3, and budget line is AB. So where is the consumer's equilibrium? Consumer's equilibrium is at E, where IC is tangent to budget line. Look, IC1, on IC1 F is also touching the budget line, but it's not tangent there. That's why the equilibrium is not there. Equilibrium is the only point where the IC is tangent to budget line. Here the slope of IC is equals to slope of budget line and MRS XY is equals to PX upon PY. First condition is satisfied, and secondly IC is convex, so MRS is also continuously falling, so second condition also satisfies. So this is the consumer's equilibrium. So with this we completed today's topic. I hope you liked it. If you have any doubts, please mention in the comment section. Thank you so much.